Добро вечер од студиото на ТВ24. Наш гостин вечерва е евроамбасадорот Жбогар. Накратко ќе поразговараме за извештајот на Европската комисија кој што вчера беше објавен, но се разбира и за предстојниот Европски совет. Амбасадоре, добро вечер и добре дојдовте.
Добро вечер.
Накратко да поразговараме за извештајот на Европската комисија кој што го објави оној апдейтиран, краток, но позитивен извештај фокусиран на три области. Судство и корупција, разузнавачки служби и се разбира јавна администрација. Чекориме ли по вистинскиот пат кон независно судство?
Definitely. I think the report is very clear. On one side, the Venice Commission confirmed that the laws, the rules that govern judiciary are in line with international standards. We note and we demonstrate in the report that implementation of the laws is ongoing. We demonstrate this with several cases that were done by judiciary. And last, we also note that judicial institutions, especially Judicial Council, are playing positive role. So all in all, I think there is improvement, good progress, as we say. We believe that the problem in judiciary is not in judiciary itself. The problem with judiciary is in politics. And as long as politics stays away from judiciary, we believe that judicial institutions can manage themselves very well.
Вчера во извештајот беше спомнато носењето на законот за јавно обвинителство, но и случајот рекет. Македонската опозиција пак обвинува дека власта е вмешана во рекет, од друга страна дека носењето на законот се носеше по насилен пат. Какви пораки испраќа ЕУ со овој?
Well, first on the reket case, I think we will wait for prosecutor and for judges to take a decision, for prosecutor to prove what she's claiming, and for the court to take a decision. And then we will see who is or was involved in the reket case. So I think that's our position, always as regards judicial cases. On the law on public prosecution office, there have been negotiations for a year. We were following those negotiations very closely. We talked with both sides, with Vumeron and with SDSM. We knew their comments, we knew their suggestions. There were several proposals that were put forward. And at the end, this is the law that was put to the Parliament. It didn't cross any of the red lines from our side. We thought it's a good law. It was adopted with 80 votes as required by the Constitution. As regarding the procedure in the Parliament, according to the Article 60 of the Rules of Procedure, Speaker is the one who interprets the rules, and we respect that.
Јавна администрација. Значи во извештајот стои само дека напредокот продолжува. Што значи ова? Дека имаме уште многу работа на ова поле? Што станува со превработеноста во јавната администрација, несоодветната екипираност?
Yes, there's still a lot of work in the public administration. We do note progress. We do note there is more transparency of the work. We do know there is more consultations with the stakeholders, with the civil society. We do note with the progress on e-portal, on the civil registry that is functioning. There is ongoing functional analysis of the government that will come out, I think, very soon, which should guide the reforms in the future in public administration. But of course, yes, there's a lot of work, especially on employment, merit-based employments. Here, we want to point to the good work done by the Anti-Corruption Commission for Prevention Corruption, which pointed to several cases of nepotism and not merit-based employments, and I think this should continue. The monitoring by the Anti-Corruption Commission, and their recommendations should be implemented by the government.
Сакала да се навратам на новата методологија која што беше услов и ве сега е објавена, Европската комисија ја објави, таа носи многу услови, меѓутоа имаат ли македонските институции капацитет да го спроведат сето она што се бара во оваа нова методологија?
I hope so, and I think so. I think the administration just needs to be motivated, and I think they will be able to perform the tasks. I think even more important than administration, which I think will do their job, is the unity of political forces. I think that methodology, the new way of negotiations, will require more from the country, but will also enable the country to move faster. But for that, you will really need the unity in the country, unity of all political forces on the reforms, on the European integration. And I think, and unity, I mean political forces, opposition and government, but also of civil society. And I think after the elections, the new government should reflect how they can get everybody around the table to be as effective as possible and as the new process is allowing the country to move forward.
Познавајќи ја состојбата тука во државата, сметате дека тоа ќе може да го направи?
I don't know whether you can, but you should. I think it's the new methodology is really opening a new way of doing enlargement. It's a new hope for enlargement. And I think your country will be the first one on which this methodology will be tested. And we cannot afford that it fails. And you will have huge responsibility as a country that you demonstrate that the new way of enlargement process is working. Because I'm afraid that if this will not work again, then there might be questions in the European Union about the enlargement process as such. So I think it will be huge responsibility for the citizens, of course, but also for the whole region to demonstrate that this new process is functioning. So I think you are capable of coming together for such a clear goal.
Ќе успеат ли земјите членки да ја усвојат методологијата до Европскиот совет до 26 март?
They just started discussing the paper. As I hear, there are no major concerns. There is overall satisfaction with the paper, that it goes in the right direction. So I don't expect major problems, which means that in the next few weeks we should hopefully be able to have it adopted, that hopefully next few weeks member states will adopt it.
Исполнати се два клучни услови. Методологијата која што ја бараше Франција, од друга страна имаме позитивен извештај на Европската комисија. Од една страна се задоволени барањата на Франција, меѓутоа тука имаме и скептични земји како што се Холандија, Данска, која што се приклонува. Каква дебата да очекуваме на 26 и 27 март и исход од овој Европски совет?
Very difficult for me to comment discussions of member states. You're right. Methodology that was requested is now on the table. Update report on the two countries is also on the table. So Commission did its part. Your country also did its part, implementing all the reforms, including adopting the public prosecution law on the last day of the Parliament. So now it's for member states. Everything is on the table, and they will have to discuss and take a decision. I'm refraining from becoming too optimistic, because you never know if an issue from the side comes and disrupts the discussions, like the lack of agreement on the budget, future budget of the European Union. But at the moment, I think the stars are aligning, and we are all hoping to see finally a positive result.
А какви се шансите да се раздели пакетот Македонија и Албанија за време на Европскиот совет и дали може повторно да извисиме овој пат поради Албанија, односно да не добиеме датум поради Албанија?
Well, the Commission proposed opening negotiations with both countries for separate reason. In the report for North Macedonia, we state very clearly why we believe that the country is ready, or more than ready, to go forward. In the report of Albania, we'll do the same with the arguments for Albania, especially linked to vetting that they did and to stepping up the anti-organized crime activities and reducing the asylum seekers in Europe. So for both countries, we issued repeated recommendations to open negotiations. I think it is beneficial for North Macedonia that Albania also opens negotiations. It's always good to have neighbors who are looking forward and who are moving forward. I think it can be mutually satisfactory or influencing each other positively. At the end of the day, it is a merit-based process, so the member states will be discussing each country independently and take decision independently.
Ова малку наликува на една игра помеѓу земјите членки, затоа што од една страна стојат Франција и Германија кои што викаат да, сакаме датум за Македонија и Албанија во пакет, меѓутоа тука е Холандија која што вели дека пакетот мора да се раздели, сето тоа како да виси во воздух.
Until the end of March, where there will be meeting of the European Council, there are still a few weeks, and I'm convinced that the presidency and institutions and member states are discussing in order to prepare the meeting at the end of March. I don't think that we as the European Union want to repeat the exercise of October. I don't think we can afford another European Council without a decision. So I trust that our leaders in Europe, and also including the presidency, who is very supportive of enlargement and of your country, will prepare all the ground so that there will be no surprises at the end of March.
Колку ЕУ е свесна дека добивањето или недобивањето датум ќе влијае или игра клучна улога во предвремените парламентарни избори тука на 12 април?
You know how it is. If there is a date, or if there is not a date, somebody will always say that it influenced the elections. One way or the other, somebody can always claim that we influenced the election result. I think what is important, that's why what is important for the European Union is to take a decision not for the government, not for this or that party, but for the country, for the citizens of the country who have been so patient for so long, that we need to take a decision as soon as member states are ready. Then they have to take a decision in the interest of citizens here. And I think that's how the approach will be in Brussels. I don't think they will have in mind the elections here or there, but simply looking when the time is ripe to take a decision. And as Commission, we believe that the time is ready now. With the report, with the methodology, we believe now it's time to take a decision, because window is open now, and you never know what happens in Europe or in the world a few months from now, so it's very risky to calculate with moving dates.
Ги спомнавме предвремените парламентарни избори во април, во меѓувреме се најавува валка на кампања за овие предвремени парламентарни избори. Какви ЕУ стандарди, то поточно на какви ЕУ стандарди ќе се потпрат партиите ако играат валка на барем онака како што се најавува?
Well, I think I said already once that the past 3 elections were assessed by international community as good elections, democratic elections, free and fair elections. Nothing less than that will be good enough. I mean, the bar is raised very high from the previous 3 elections, presidential, local, and the general one in December 16. So nothing less than that would be good enough. And I hear and I read a lot about this dirty campaign. and tense atmosphere and polarization, which is really deep. And I think that here also, if I may, media has responsibility and role, I would say, because depends on your questions. What are the leaders going to talk about? Well, are they going to talk about the past, or are they going to talk about the future, their future projects, their future ideas for the country? So if debates in the future would focus with questions also about, what are you delivering on this and that area, hopefully leaders will also focus then on the future. I'm meeting high school students a lot in the past year and recently especially, and what they're feeling is that the leaders are talking only about the past and accusing each other about the past. As one girl said, when they talk about pollution, they just accuse each other, when did it start, either my government or your government, instead of saying what they're going to do to get rid of pollution. And there are problems like migration of young people, education, environmental issues that these young people want to hear about. So hopefully in the debate, we, but mostly them, will hear that as well.
За крај, не можеме да не го спомнеме она што во последните денови тресе буквално Европската Унија, тоа е ситуацијата со Турција и бранот мигранти и бегалци. Какво сценарио да очекуваме, евентуално ако пристигне голем бран на мигранти и бегалци на македонско-грчката граница?
Well, first, yes, as you said, Tresa Europska Unija. Indeed, I think it's a shock, a big issue for the European Union. That's why today, President of European Council, yes, and European Commission and European Parliament, they are on the border between Greece and Turkey, looking at situation. That's why High Representative for Foreign Policy is or External Relations is in Turkey, discussing with Turkey the situation. There was agreement signed between Turkey and European Union, the statement, yes, according to which we appreciate the support that Turkey is providing for the migrants, for the 4 million migrants that they have. And in that sense, the European Union also provided 6 billion funds to help them take care of the refugees. We still want to continue implement that agreement.
Сакате да се реобнови овој договор, да се направи нов договор со Ердоган, пошто тој денеска имаше одредени пораки до Европската Унија?
Yes, I think we are definitely interested to continue implement the agreement that is there, and I think this is what our leaders now will be discussing. They talked on the phone with him, and Borrell is today in Ankara. So yes, I think that it worked well for several years, and we hope that we can come back to that. As regarding your country, I think that there's a lot of lessons learned from the past migration crisis. I think you managed very well at the time. In addition, we also provided a lot of support recently in means, in vehicles, in radars, in different things. So I think that you're much more prepared, or even better prepared this time, for eventual migration crisis if it comes to that point.
Амбасадоре, ви благодарам за разговорот.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.